Hey YA nerds, my name is Kaye and I like to read a lot. And this is my channel, Kaye Reads a Lot. So this week I want to talk to you about a book that is super special to me, that I have loved since it came out last year, that I have advocated for on a couple of occasions in library land. I want to talk about Laura Dean Keeps Breaking Up With Me by Mariko Tamaki and Rosemary Valero-O'Connell. It just won the Eisner, actually it won 3 Eisners, so I figured it would be an appropriate time to bring it up. It's been on my list to talk about for a while, again, since last year when I wasn't doing the channel, and I figured it was about time. What better way to talk about it and capitalize on its success than doing it now? No, but really, like, I have loved this book forever. We talked about this book, we being librarians, talked about this book during our Prince Award ceremony that we had this past year, and I was the only person who was like, no, this deserves a Prince Award. And I was mostly right. I think it got like an honorary Prince kind of thing. Obviously I don't have the copy with a million medals on it since I purchased it right after it got released. And usually they don't put those on until like the second or third printing after it's won all of the awards that it's won. So, like I said, it came out last year on May 7th, 2019. It's 304 pages and it's beautiful. Like I said before, it got nominated for the Prince Award. It was also nominated for a Goodreads Choice Award for graphic novels and comics. And it won the Walter Dean Myers Award for 2020 and the VLA Graphic Novel Diversity Award for youth and, youth, yeah. And the Eisner awards that it won were for like the penciling, the story, and the overall book itself. Well-deserved in my opinion. You could tell just from the cover how gorgeous it is. Rosemary is an amazing artist. I follow her on Twitter now. And actually last year at FlameCon, I had her sign it, and Mariko signed it. I loved this book, so let's talk about it. So, Laura Dean Keeps Breaking Up With Me is about a young girl named Freddie who is in a relationship with Laura Dean, who is one of the most popular girls at her school, and is also gay. It's so gay, guys. It's just so good. And unfortunately, Freddie keeps getting broken up with by Laura Dean. Obviously, from the title, you can tell it's not a spoiler. So Freddie decides to write to an advice column. And so throughout the book, we're following her writing to the advice column going like, hey, I really need your advice. All these things keep happening. Laura broke up with me again. Here's what's going on, blah, blah, blah. And it's basically like, how do I describe this? It's ultimately, this book is a story about picking your friends over your love interests, which I agree with wholeheartedly. And Freddie kind of comes to the realization that when she's with Laura Dean, she is a terrible friend to the people who care about her. And so she wants to improve and she wants to get better, but she doesn't know how to do that or what to do or how to like get away from Laura Dean because she's in love with her. So good, guys. I don't think I'm doing the plot that much justice, but I used to read my favorite parts to everybody back when I first started the channel, and I thought that was something people wanted to watch. It wasn't. So I kind of stopped doing that. However, I did want to read this one part because I think it's really important. And when I talked about this book at the Prince Award, I did this exact same thing. So that's why we have these little markers in here. Because I was like, I'm going to read a part to make people vote for it for the mock Prince Award. It didn't really work, but that's okay. So, like I said, Freddie's been writing emails to Anna Weiss, which is the advice column. And finally, at the end of the book, literally, this is how much we have left. At the end of the book, Anna Weiss writes back. This is not a spoiler. I promise. But if it is, you can skip ahead. So, dear Freddie, thank you for your emails. All your emails. There's technically no solution for the problem of breaking up, no matter what side of the breaking you end up on. There are 2 rumors about breaking up that I feel might be helpful to address here. One is that breakups should be clean. The other is that you should only break up when you're not in love. The truth is, breakups are usually messy, the way people are messy, the way life is often messy. It's okay for a breakup to feel like a disaster. It doesn't feel okay, but I assure you that it is okay. It's also true that you can break up with someone you still love, because those two things are not distinct territories, love and not being in love anymore. I think it's true that the older you get, and I am very old, the more you see that being in love and breaking up have a lot in common. Love is hard. Breaking up is hard. Love is dramatic. Breaking up is dramatic. Which makes me think that a lot of the questions you have about breaking up might be better thought of as questions about the nature of the love you have for this girl. What is it like to love this person who keeps breaking up with you, and then presumably coming back to you? What does your love with this person offer you? Does it make you happy? Does it give you what you need to be a better person? Polyamorous or monogamous, your love should be a thing that brings something to you. It's true that giving can be a part of love, but contrary to popular belief, love should never take from you, Freddie. No matter what form these relationships take, and if polyamory is your wish, I am no one to stand in your way. The decisions you make must be yours. If Laura Dean keeps breaking up with you, what are you doing? What do you want to do? Have faith in yourself to know what's right for you. Whatever answer you need, it's inside you somewhere. In solidarity with you and all your lesbian sisters in love and loss, Anna Weiss. I love this book. And really quick before I move on to the tropes, because there are some tropes in this book, but I think they're good tropes. I wanted to show you guys my favorite page. Might be a spoiler. So, two characters hugging. I read this book and immediately took a picture of both those pages, and they have been my lock screen and my phone background since last May. And if anybody knows me, you know I like to change that thing often. I have not changed it in over a year. I love this book, guys. So there's a few tropes for this book. I did revamp the trope list. Thank you, shout out to Tessa, who is amazing and wonderful, and I love her, and I hope she watches this. So here's some of the tropes that I came up with. And then eventually I'll do a video with all my new tropes because I think they're cool, and it would be cool to do a video about them. But for Laura Dean Keeps Breaking Up With Me, we have Clueless Adults. Communication is key. Oh wait. Clueless Adults, because the parents of Freddie are really clueless on how to help her with her breakups, with her relationships, with what's going on with her friends. There you go. Communication is key is one of the new tropes that Tessa and I came up with, and it is basically like if the two of you would just talk, just sit down and talk. And that's true for Freddie and Laura Dean, as well as Freddie and her friends. Mr. Tall, Dark, and Perfect, except in this case, because we're talking about two women in love, it's Mrs. Tall, Dark, and Perfect, or Miss Tall, Dark, and Perfect. Laura Dean is perfect. She is up for prom queen at some point. She is adored by everyone. She is a playboy, Lothario. Everyone wants to be with her. She is amazing and gorgeous and charismatic and terrible. Only one friend in the world. Freddie has she has a group of friends, but there's really one friend who's her best friend, and that is Doodle, obviously a nickname. And Doodle and her are best friends, and something happens to, like, threaten their relationship. I wonder what. It's Laura Dean, come on. And then the last one we have is also a new one. It's called Rich Orphan. Laura Dean kind of seems to be on the rich end, and she's also alone all the time. So I've noticed this trope, actually Tessa was the one who pointed it out to me, that there's this trope in YA fiction where there's like a kid who's always at home and they're constantly throwing parties and they have like, there's no parents around, but they're like rich and spoiled. So it's the rich orphan. And I think Laura definitely applies to that trope. So, as always, I know I described them in the video, like how they apply to the book, but I'm going to put the definitions for the tropes down below in the description, and you guys can let me know what you think about them. And yeah, coming soon a video about all of the tropes. It's something I have to like print out and read from a sheet, and I just don't feel like it. fun story. Usually when I do the read-alikes, they're 2 different books from 2 websites, and comparing the 4 books is kind of interesting to me and very fun. But this time, and it might be because it's a graphic novel and a fairly new graphic novel, both Novelist and Goodreads gave me the same recommendation. So for once, I have no complaint about what Goodreads has recommended to me, because I agree with what they recommended to me, and ironically, I own both of the books that were wrecked. So I'm not going to put the pictures up on screen because I figured I would just hold them up and talk about them a little bit. So the first book that was recommended to me was Bloom by Kevin Panetta, illustrated by Savannah Ganeshaw. Also a very gorgeous book about young queer love. These 2 boys fall in love and they have a cute relationship, and it's so good. I really love this book too. I mean, the illustrations are just gorgeous, and that's why I own this book. I mean, I own like a lot of graphic novels, so when I talk about them, it's kind of rare because I own too many of them. But yeah, so I agree that this can definitely coincide with Laura Dean. Again, it shares a lot of similar like story beats, except there's less breaking up in this one. And then the other book that got recommended was Kiss Number 8. It's by Colleen A.F. Venable and illustrated by Ellen T. Crenshaw. Also really gorgeous looking book. Just the cover like really catches your attention. I love this like juxtaposition of blue and yellow. It really makes the yellow pop. And this one is also about young queer love, but it's about a young girl who has had 7 kisses in her life. And it's the 8th kiss that kind of throws her life into turmoil because it's with a girl. And not just any girl, it's with like her best friend. And she comes from like a strict Catholic family. It's a whole thing. Also not really about breaking up, but definitely about like queer relationships. And so I think it works that way. And it's been a while since I've read it, so I don't remember if the main character comes out as gay or bisexual. Oh, I forgot about this part of the story. Okay, I'm gonna have to reread this one, obviously. But also highly recommend it, obviously, since I own it. But yeah, really good. I, again, agree with these recommendations wholeheartedly. So we have Kiss Number 8 and we have Bloom. Go read them. So good. And go read Laura Dean. I guess I should say that at the end. Oh, hey, we're at the end. You should go read Laura Dean. Just go read it. Like, it gets like a 20 out of 10 for me. It's a perfect book in my opinion. First of all, the prose is gorgeous. Thank you, Mariko Tamaki, for writing gorgeous prose about queer women. Yes. It's the illustrations, gorgeous. The backgrounds, like, you can get lost in one page just looking at the background of this book. I could flip open, and I'm not going to. I've already showed you too much. I've already read too much from it. I've already spoiled the whole ending. It's too late. Just go read it. It's so good. I definitely agree that it should have won an Eisner Award. I know there's a lot of controversy going on with the Eisners right now, because of like the voting and how it was done, and it's a little shady, but I think winning the Eisner, I think that's appropriate for Laura Dean Keeps Breaking Up With Me. I think it needs all the awards. It's so good, it's beautiful, it's perfect. You should go read it. So, that's it for me this week. I was going to talk about a completely different book, and then the Eisners happened, so here we are. You can follow me on Instagram now if you'd like. I'm at Kaye Reads a Lot. That's where I'm kind of posting, not really reviews, just kind of like, here's a book I read. I liked it. So it's a lot less work on that end, as opposed to this where I record for 20 minutes and then I have to edit for like an hour. So yeah, that's all that's really going on with me. I guess I will see you guys next week, hopefully with a new video. Eventually I'm going to have to record an introduction video. Someone pointed out to me that my channel has no content, which is interesting. So that's it for me this week, and I guess I'll see you guys next time. Peace out, YA nerds.